Today, the Rules Committee is convening to consider a single measure, the Senate amendment to H.R. 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. With the Senate having completed its respective process, H.R. 1 has returned to the People's House for final consideration. And while I don't often think that the other body improves our legislation, it's important to recognize that much of what the House included in H.R. 1 when we initially passed it is still included. And I'm sure that our committee chairman will bring attention to that. Things like tax relief for working families, reducing waste, fraud, and abuse in government programs so they remain focused on those who truly need the programs, a historic investment designed to strengthen our armed forces, protect our borders, and keep Americans safe. I could go on and on about all the great things in this one big, beautiful bill. However, I think it's important to recognize that when this passes, it will go directly to the president's desk so that he may sign it into law and deliver a long line of massive wins for the American people. Indeed, this process has been long, and the thoughtful deliberations and efforts on part of committees, members, and staff is highly commendable. And while those diligent efforts have been undertaken by many, we have still heard the same doomsayers yelling to the rafters week after week about this legislation. Each week, they head back to the rhetorical trough, select a new inflammatory claim, and broadcast it feverishly to the masses as if the threat of the sky falling is imminent. For the record, the sky is not falling. We're all too familiar with this worn-out song and dance routine. The fact is that Americans are not fooled by these ludicrous claims. They're not buying into the fear-mongering because they know better. They see the One Big Beautiful Bill Act as a monumental opportunity, an opportunity that will spur even more prosperity within the nation and further propel America into the golden age where it truly belongs. As the Speaker laid out very succinctly, this bill gets Americans back to winning again, and yes, it's been a long time coming. From delivering historic tax relief to reigniting our economic engine, creating massive investments in border security, to capturing generational savings and much more, H.R. 1 is the embodiment of the America First agenda. And there are provisions within this legislation that Democrats and their media bedfellows remain noticeably mum about, such as the establishing of savings accounts for newborns, increasing the child tax credit by an additional $500 per child, strengthening paid leave and child care tax credits. This legislation does not have a bowed posture and the frailty of a pipsqueak. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act is the real deal. It's what Americans voted for when they put their trust in President Trump and our Republican majorities in the People's House and the Senate. And here's a sharp dose of reality. A failure to pass this legislation carries with it serious negative implications, not only for hardworking taxpayers, but also the nation. The largest tax increase in American history would be levied against everyday men and women. Millions of jobs would be wiped off the map. Small businesses would be decimated. Wages would vanish. GDP would plummet, and nationwide economic ruin would erupt. Resources to ensure the continued protection of our nation's borders would dry up and turn to dust. Our nation's military would be rendered ill-prepared to confront existing threats to the American homeland, meet the quality of life needs for service members, and keep our adversaries in check. This isn't blatant fear-mongering like what our Democrat colleagues have been doing incessantly for months. These are just facts. President Trump has his pen in hand and is waiting for us to move forward. At this critical juncture, failure is not an option. We're kicking off the final leg of this process here in the Rules Committee today, and we're making good, yet again, on our commitments that we have made to the American people. Let's get this done and keep the wins coming.